This is Voice the Culture, a podcast for the modern-day confused citizen. Welcome to the second episode of Voice the Culture. I'm Helen.
I'm Callie.
I'm Michelle.
And I'm Carolyn.
Today we'll be talking about the impact, theories, and misinformation on coronavirus. At the end, we'll discuss actions you can take. Disclaimer, some of the contents discussed are opinionated. Please fact check everything before forming conclusions.
So what is the coronavirus? SARS-CoV-2 is a coronavirus that causes coronavirus disease 2019, also known as COVID-19. Coronaviruses are a family of viruses that target and affect mammals' respiratory systems. According to their specific characteristics, there are four main ranks or genera of coronavirus: alpha, beta, delta, and gamma. Most of these only affect animals, but a few can also pass to humans. Those that are transmissible to humans belong to only two of these genera, alpha and beta. So as for the impacts of coronavirus, there are currently a lot of protesters in Huntington Beach and San Diego, all around SoCal, and even in Michigan, protesting against the shelter-in-place regulations by the government. They're saying that these regulations are infringing on their liberties and it's somehow taking away their rights. A lot of these protesters are actually Trump supporters. Some people compare them to Rosa Parks for saying that they're standing up for their rights in such a patriotic way.
Yeah, that was a bit too much. Because then, what are you gonna do? Protest against the coronavirus?
Yeah, I
Do you
think the
expect it
protesters
to
are
just suddenly leave because you're showing up outside with signs and stuff?
I think the protesters are really dumb because you're protesting a virus. How is that? You're honestly just spreading it more because a lot of the protests they show up with no mask and they're all in huge groups. If you guys saw that video of Huntington Beach and the recent one, there's so many people outside and they all don't have any mask on or anything. You're just spreading it more.
It's because they're not taking precautions at all, and the reason why there's a stay in, is because they're trying to protect your own health and stuff. They're trying to keep you safe. So I don't understand why they're protesting against that.
Yeah,
I understand from people who own small businesses and from their point of view, but if you're just protesting just because you want to go outside, I don't know. It just seems irrational to me because you're privileged enough to be able to stay home and be safe from this virus, and there's people who are open, they have no protection from this disease and they have to
There's people
be on
risking
the
their
front line.
lives,
Yeah.
Think of doctors and small business owners.
Yeah, a lot of the people protesting aren't even the ones working. They just want services like haircuts and shops to open for their own convenience.
Oh my god. Yeah, I saw this one video on Twitter. This lady was screaming about how she needs to get her hair done. She's like, look, and she's showing her hair off. She's like, look at my roots. I need to get my hair done. That's not necessary. People are dying, and you're complaining about your hair. It's such a small, minuscule problem.
I think had the federal government taken action sooner, many lives would have been saved. In January and February, Trump was still denying that the severity of the virus and told everyone not to panic. And I don't know. It sometimes feel like they're prioritizing the economy over humanity and trying to save it at the expense of humanity. And I feel like they were encouraged to go back to work. Trump didn't give any concrete guidelines until March 16th. Yeah. How do you guys feel about this?
I do think it's a big part of the government's fault on why the US is so crazy on how many cases we have, because South Korea and the US, we had coronavirus case on the same days, and yet now South Korea is starting, I believe, to open up a lot of their services again, while the US is continuing to, our coronavirus cases are continuing to go up. And I think Trump said on February 28th, President Trump told Americans that the coronavirus is going to disappear. One day, it's like a miracle. It will disappear. Well, guess what? Surprise. It's not disappearing.
It just seemed like he was relying on a miracle to happen rather than
Mhm.
having an
Mhm.
actual plan to actually stop it.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And I remember him talking about how, like, the coronavirus he was playing it down by talking about how it was just like a regular flu.
Yeah, he was saying that, like, "Oh, the flu is so much worse than the coronavirus. It's not gonna be as bad. You're overreacting," and look what happened.
Mhm.
So in 2018, Trump fired the pandemic response team and cut the funding of the CDC, as well as refusing World Health Organization test kits. This was meant to cut the cost of spending, but in actuality, by cutting your funding, he harmed the nation and he put the nation at such a greater risk.
I think it was April 14th when Trump said in a speech that he was gonna cut funding for the World Health Organization.
Hmm.
And this was a really weird timing to cut funding because it was April 14th was still when the cases were increasing like a lot, and he was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna cut funding," like, or it was for like because he blamed the World Health Organization for like he said they weren't dealing with the spread of coronavirus correctly, and they were
Hmm.
mismanaging it.
Hmm.
But cutting funding is just doesn't that just make it worse? Because
A lot of government officials are blaming like the health organizations and CDC for not being able to handle the pandemic. But honestly, if you're going to cut the funding from the pandemic association team, then like, do you guys want to talk about the theories now?
yeah,
There were also many different theories regarding the origins of the coronavirus, and there was one being where the U.S. Most of them believe that the coronavirus came from a lab.
there are two labs in Wuhan that study coronavirus originating from bats, and both of those labs are about 8 to 9 miles away from the seafood market where coronavirus is thought to have started there.
Another one being how they believe that the Chinese lab experiments were based on a pseudotype virus and was used as a bioweapon. But then this theory was debunked because a recent study demonstrated that the virus was actually a natural product of evolution. So it wouldn't be possible for them to develop this bioweapon.
Yeah, I read an article that talked about how Trump was claiming that he knew for sure that the virus originated from a lab in China, but then when officials asked him about what he saw, he just said like, "Oh, I can't reveal any of that information." And it just seemed like
Yeah.
really discreditable for him to be saying that he knew for sure it came from a lab when officials weren't even able to confirm where it came from.
There's a lot of like officials from the US that are saying it came from a lab in Wuhan, but they're not presenting any evidence, and like not even just Trump. Like, let me see. The U.S. Secretary of State he said that enormous evidence shows that coronavirus began in a laboratory in Wuhan, but he didn't provide any proof. So he
Hmm.
just said that there's a significant amount of evidence, but he didn't say that it was man-made, but he did say it came from a lab, and he
Hmm.
just kind of stopped there when people asked him about it, and he didn't further show evidence.
Yeah, and then you know how Trump also like he was also sort of pointing fingers at China too.
Hmm.
He was talking about how like oh he always referred to coronavirus as the Chinese virus. So it sort of felt like he was just pointing fingers at it, and then I feel like it also raising negative opinion about like
Hmm.
because there's already been like a lot of discrimination and racism surrounding the coronavirus and social media and stuff. So he's already
And he's like perpetuating the stigma against Asians and even like
Hmm.
non-Asians having diseases and being considered dirty when in actuality a lot of the Asians here in America have no relation to the Asians in Wuhan, China who are affected by the
Hmm.
virus.
And even then, like, it's just a virus. Like, I don't understand why people think like the Chinese started it or anything. It the virus itself started in China, but that doesn't give you the right to blame a race for it because that doesn't make any sense. It's not like people
Mhm.
made the virus from like the theory that says it's a bioweapon. Like, I don't believe that's true.
I feel like even though the epidemic broke out in China, it doesn't necessarily mean that it originated in China.
All right.
Yeah.
Um, the outbreak started in China, but there's still a lot of doubt about how the virus might not have even originated in China.
I think that also leads us into our next topic about like misinformation as well. everybody's pumping out information, and to the public it will seem overwhelming to most people, and being that like all these information are most likely false, it just accumulates more fear and racism. As we talked about in our previous article, Asian owned businesses in San Jose are being vandalized, and like Asians across America are also at risk at being mobbed at places. And yeah.
Yeah, it's hard
Mhm.
seeing like these businesses that you once went to all the time just being hurt and living in that fear of what if I go outside and see that same reaction, that stigma against me just for the color of my skin.
It also shows how, like, ignorant some people are because a lot of those business attacks were Vietnamese. It shows the ignorance because, like,
You can't even differentiate between like Chinese people
mhm,
and Vietnamese people, you know?
yeah, they
Hmm.
just think like, "Oh, it's Asian, okay, that's it."
I just think it's very unfortunate that we still live in like a time where racism is very much prominent. Like
Mhm,
I feel
Hmm.
like with all the laws and acts that protects us from getting abuse and stuff, it protects us from racists. But I feel like this virus is giving people a reason to come out and
Hmm.
use this pandemic as a excuse to abuse these minorities.
Hmm.
And yeah.
Yeah, to like act on their hate crimes and try to justify it by saying Asians are the reason that this whole shelter in place, this whole pandemic started. Some myths about the coronavirus. So, one common myth is that injecting chlorine and other cleaning products into your skin will kill the virus in your body, but there's no hardcore evidence that actually shows this to be true. I think, if anything, you should not do this to yourself.
I mean, common
Oh
sense
my god, I know, it's
tells
crazy common
you
sense.
to
Are
not
you kidding?
do it. Like, this is like the equivalent of like the Tide Pod challenge. Like,
How about
like
Exactly. Oh my
that?
god, I saw all these tweets that talking about, wow, those kids back when they were, eating Tide Pods really ahead of their game, man.
oh.
Like, it's so dumb.
And the
It's I
problem is
don't
that it's not even like kids that are injecting chlorine and
exactly.
cleaning products in your
These are,
skin, you
like,
know? It's
adults.
adults. You should have common sense. Like,
I
oh my
know.
god.
That's why honestly and, like, the fact that Trump, like, he said that and he was so serious about it, and then the next day, when everyone was, like, yelling at him for it, he was like, "Oh, it was just a joke." When if you're gonna joke something about that, I feel like you should clarify that it was a joke because,
Hmm.
like, you never know who's gonna actually listen to you. And so many people, I think it was like 30 people or something like that, who went to the hospital because they injected bleach into themselves.
Hmm. Those 30 people took up space in the hospital when the hospitals are already filled with so many
Exactly.
patients. Yeah.
Exactly. I feel so bad for like people who work in hospitals because they're already like crazy
Overworked.
packed.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, with all this, coronavirus. And the fact that people are going in and being like, "Oh, I injected bleach into myself. I think I'm dying." Like, oh my god. People are dealing with
Yeah,
so
cause
much more than that.
yeah, cause there's already so much fear and stigma surrounding everyone, so they're more likely to believe in everything, you know? They want to
Hmm.
believe in
Yeah.
anything, so
Yeah.
to, like in hopes of, like,
Yeah.
curing coronavirus.
Yeah,
Hmm.
because we really don't know. Like, there's nothing that like can cure the coronavirus as of now. And so, like, anyone's just looking for any sort of solution. But just know, please don't inject bleach into yourselves. Like, you
Yeah.
can use disinfectant. Like, obviously, I think where that comes from is that because disinfectant it does kill coronavirus, but that's on surfaces, not in your body. So
Yeah, for
also
sure.
with like the UV light,
What's the UV
Trump
light myth?
also said, yeah, because Trump like in the same sentence he said and like injecting disinfectant into yourself and using UV light to kill off the coronavirus. Just so you know, UV light gives you skin cancer. Please don't. Yeah. Okay. Wait. Hold
Yeah,
Yeah.
please don't gargle salt water or bleach. I mean, no, gargling
No,
salt water
gargling
Why do
is
you
good
add
bad for you.
bleach?
No, no, gargling
but
salt
just
water is good for you actually.
yeah, yeah,
Not
yeah,
for
it's good
coronavirus,
for
but
you. Gargling salt water does have some positive effects, but it does not have any relation to the coronavirus.
mhm.
Yeah, and also sniffing onions. I heard this from my mom actually, but apparently the onions, if you put them in your room, they're supposed to suck up all the bacteria and the germs from your body and cover up the smell of the bacteria. But there's no like scientific evidence to show that it works against the coronavirus. It's just there.
Mhm. Yeah, so it was on April 23rd when Trump said that, like, about the disinfectant thing, and he also said that we should expose our bodies to UV light and expose ourselves to it, so to kill off the coronavirus if it's in your body. There's an experiment going on that currently is testing whether UV light can kill coronavirus or not, and it is an effective treatment to coronavirus, but not in your body. It's referring to surfaces once again, like with
Mhm.
disinfectant. So please don't expose yourself to excessive UV light because that gives you cancer. Like, why do you think we put on sunscreen? Why do you think we wear sunglasses that say UV light protecting? Like, UV light is gonna give you cancer. So please don't expose yourself to UV light
Facts. No
excessively.
printer.
Oh my god.
So another piece of misinformation is that you have to be near someone for 10 minutes to get the coronavirus. You can catch the coronavirus in under 10 minutes, but the longer you stay near someone, the higher the likelihood is of catching it.
10 minutes is not an accurate number because you can just get, like, even by touching the surface, I feel like you can
Yeah,
get
as
it.
long as
Yeah.
you transmit drops like coughing or sneezing, you have the chance of running
Mhm.
into it.
Yeah. So
Honestly,
please,
just try to avoid contact with like other people.
yeah,
Yeah, social
please
distancing.
practice social distancing.
What do you guys think about Corona beer?
Oh my god. Oh my gosh, I remember with Corona, their stocks dropped because
Oh
people
my
stopped
god.
buying it. I was like, yo,
Oh my
It's
god.
not
so
gonna
funny. Yeah, guys, drinking Corona alcohol will not protect you from the virus, nor will it get you the virus. It's just
it's just beer.
How do people come up with that conclusion? There's like
I
no
don't know.
correlation.
People literally like, oh my gosh.
Also, the coronavirus is not airborne. Okay, you can't get it
Ugh.
by breathing in the same air as someone with corona, but you can get it by getting like sneezed or coughed on by someone.
Mhm. Yeah, that's why it's recommended to stay at least 6 feet away from other people because I believe coughs and sneezes can carry that distance. Definitely not airborne though. I don't. My mom thinks that. Like every time I open a window, she's like, close the window," and I'm like, "Woman, it
Oh
is not
my god,
airborne.
same.
I need to
yeah.
breathe. It's so stuffy in the house. I'm like, I gotta open the window. She's like, close the window." I'm like, no, I don't see anyone outside the house. We're good.
Yeah, I like saw this video, this interview with Dr. Fauci, and like he said like the term airborne was very misleading. It's more aerosol than airborne because like the virus doesn't stay in the air. It forms in droplets from like people coughing and sneezing and stuff.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
like calling it airborne is just very misleading and
Yeah, those droplets can last on hard surfaces like your Amazon packages or your takeouts for up to 72 hours. So when you order stuff online, just make sure to throw everything away, including the packaging after, and wash your hands clean.
I just wiped down my packages. Like I just got a package yesterday, and I wiped it down so much, and then I had to like, wash my hands. Dude, my I don't know where my dad got like alcohol wipes, but I think it's from like his old company or something. Whenever he uses them or like I use them, it's so strong. It's not like the regular alcohol wipes that you would get from like Target. They literally like burn my nose hairs. Like, why
Oh
is
my
it so
god.
strong? I'm like, I guess it'll help.
like do you guys do like anything before you like take your mail in and open it? Because like what my parents do is like they would take it in using gloves and then they
Oh,
would
No, oh my
same.
god.
Oh my
Mm,
god.
yeah,
put it
yeah,
on the
yeah, yeah.
counter and like leave it there for like a few days and then like use gloves to open them and like
Yeah, they put it out like in the sun, and they hope
Yeah.
they'll like I don't know, like dry up the
Yeah, I don't know. They
virus
just kind
before.
of like
I
leave it
really
outside.
weird.
I'm like, but if you're really gonna leave it outside, you have to leave it outside for like 14 days. So that's when like it dies off of like surfaces.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you're not gonna leave it there for 14 days. They just kind of like they leave it out for a day, and then like I think they wash their hands probably when they like open the mail.
there's also like questionable people going around neighborhoods too. Like um we have a family friend who lives in Milpitas and like one day he caught on camera this guy like spitting into mailboxes. I'm like, what are you trying to accomplish from that? It, why aren't you home?
I don't understand people. There's a lot of
Yeah.
people who like
Yeah, and like
spitting everywhere.
yeah, cause then like like a few months ago, like no, like a month ago, we caught someone like spitting on our doorstep, and that was like really scary. I just don't understand why people like would do these kind of things, you know?
Yeah.
Wait, I don't have security cameras.
I know I don't have cameras. Okay, that's the problem. Literally, I think it was yesterday. Or we found out yesterday. So my house. Okay, this doesn't have anything to do with spitting, but yesterday, we have we have these two like elephant statues outside our house, and they're like really cute. And then yesterday, we found out that they're just gone, and we don't have cameras. And we're like, who the heck stole our statues? And they're
Oh
like super close to our
no.
house too. They're not even far away for like anyone who walked past it. It's pretty close. Like it's like right next to the house, so you have to walk up to the house to get them. And we don't know who.
Who
I
takes
don't know.
elephant statues?
Exactly. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Dude, I
Gosh.
remember one time during Halloween, I used the actual like Halloween bucket with the pumpkin shape to store the candy, and then one year they just took the entire bucket and left with the candies. I was like,
Oh my god.
Take one. Well, and
take one. Yeah, I put the
they
take
took
one sign
one. They
and they
took
took.
one bucket. They took the one bucket. People are crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a lot of irrational people.
Mhm.
yeah, guys, this is important why you should stay informed, check your sources, and be cautious of spreading misinformation. The most reliable source you can get on the pandemic right now is the CDC, and there are no current vaccines right now, so don't try to inject chlorine into you. Just stay home, practice social distancing, and if you suspect that you have corona, please don't go to the hospital. You're gonna expose yourself to other patients and endanger not only the patients as well, you're also endangering the doctors and nurses that are supposed to help these people. And I think we have a shortage on them, right? Because
Yeah, because there's
Mhm.
a specific need for certain nurses. So you might see like certain nurses off shift and not working. That's because they're not the nurses who specialize in working with adults who are the most at risk with this virus.
yeah, only go out for um,
Essentials.
yeah.
Mhm.
And make sure to wear mask, make your own masks if you don't have any at home. There are many tutorials online to teach you how to make your own. And yeah, stay safe, guys.
Period.
Oh
Oh
my
yeah, wait,
god.
wait. Also, like, please, like, actually follow the tutorials online because I see a lot of people. I believe that just wearing a bandana or like a t-shirt over it, it's not gonna help because there's no filter. So go follow the tutorials online.
There's also like a specific way to wear the mask. You
Hmm.
need to cover your nose as well when you're wearing the
Yes.
mask,
Oh
okay? Because
yes.
there's been a lot of people that like they don't cover their noses, and
Hmm.
so like even if you wear the mask, it doesn't help at all.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
saw. I went to Costco the other day because we really needed stuff, and there's so many people that I saw without masks, and also people wearing their mask like right on their like chin, and I'm like, what is that gonna do? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. And I think
Someone,
it's interesting
oh,
how like Santa Clara, well, actually no, Costco actually, I think it's effective Monday on, it's affected on Monday, May 4th, that Costco is requiring everyone to, if you want to enter Costco, you have to wear a mask. Because I think a kind of problem right now is that for some reason Santa Clara County isn't requiring masks. I don't know why. We're the county with the most cases in
yeah.
like here in the Bay Area.
Oh, I think it's because some people aren't able to like find or afford masks. Because then there's
Mhm.
already been like a really big shortage.
No, it's just like interesting to me because like so many other counties are requiring masks like around us, and we're the county with the most cases, and yet we don't require masks.
Yeah. You know, in Riverside, if you don't wear a mask, you can get fined for like $1,000.
I
Yeah,
think
you can
people
get
should
fines for it. It's interesting.
I don't know. I think that's the right decision because a lot of people don't seem to take the precautions. Like, I don't know.
Hmm.
It seemed like they're kind of downplaying it. I hear it like even from like my teachers, like they would go to like Costco and stuff, and when they're like waiting in line at the cashier, like people would be like standing like closer to them and not 6 feet, like staying 6 feet apart.
Hmm.
And they're like a lot of them don't wear masks as well,
Hmm.
which I think it's like problematic.
Yeah,
And
dude. So no, yeah, when I went to Costco, like it's obviously it was super hard to keep 6 feet away from everyone because you're, you know. but my dad was, like, grabbing stuff from the shelf, and this lady who had no mask on and, like, nothing, she just, like, shoved herself, like, right next to him, and, like, we're trying to stay 6 feet away from other people, so, like, whenever we see someone, like, grabbing something that we want, then we kinda wait for them to leave, but this lady literally just came up to my dad and just, like, started, like, grabbing and touching at stuff, and I was like, "Oh my god, no," and my dad literally, like,
Jesus
almost, like, ran
Christ.
away, like, he, like, jumped, and he was like and he just stared at her, and he was like, "What are you doing?" Oh my god. Yeah, please take precautions.
Yeah. Stay safe, guys.
All right, and that's it for our second episode, guys. We hope you enjoy listening to us talk about coronavirus and its impacts and its theories. Stay tuned for our next episode and follow us on our social media pages. All our ads are at Voice to Culture. Go to our website, voicetoculture.com, for more updates, and we also post articles on there.
Bye,
And that's it,
guys.
guys. Bye.
Bye. Okay, this is so. Oh my god. Okay,
Bye.
I'll stop the
Okay,
recording.
okay, not bye.